My friends, when your roof leaks, you notice it, right? And sometimes seeing the gaps in our business are really not so easy to detect because our to do lists are a mile long. We go from one task to another and honestly operate in a state of reaction the majority of the time. And until something major happens, we go through the motions each day, right? And we don't stop to really see where our businesses might be leaking. And so, in today's episode, I want to dive into how to identify the gaps and come up with a plan to actually fix them. Now, if you're joining me, say, hey, Erin, oh, what's up? Let me know that you're here. I always want to know who is with me when I come on live every single Wednesday. And if you've stumbled upon us somehow, I'm Erin Bird. I am your hostess with the mostest. I support dance studio owners and educators to really grow their businesses by creating their own unique vision of success. This is not me shoving my ideas down your throat. This is not about a cookie cutter approach. It is about creating your own unique vision of success without the burnout, without the overwhelm, without the sacrificing your personal life. Because the truth is, you don't have to. You can have your dream studio, your dream life, and really just enjoy our time here on this earth. So, if you're joining me, hey, Becky, good morning, or good afternoon, good morning, good morning, good morning. So, if you're joining me, say, hey, Erin, what's up? If you come back on the replay, I want to know that as well. So, my friends, let me know if you're joining me. Let me know. Now, today we will be creating some show notes. So, if you'd like a copy of those show notes at the end of this broadcast when we have them together, just drop the word show notes below and we will make sure to get those over to you. Hey, hey, hey. Hello, hello, hello. So, y'all, I am coming to you live from our new office. And so we're kind of trying to figure out all the bits and pieces here. So I hope that the audio is great for you guys. We're still working on that. And let me know. I want to know. Is it spring break for you this week? It is spring break here for us this week. And after I'm done here, we're going to be doing a little movie action. Tomorrow, we're going to go out of town. And so let me know, is it spring break for you where you're at? I want to know. So, all right, my friends, are we ready to kind of dive into the goodness here? Now, also, if you come back on the replay, I want to know that as well. Just drop a hashtag replay. And we love to learn out loud here. So if there's a moment where you have that aha or a little nugget and you're like, ooh, that was good, right? And so I want you to lean in and I want you to like type it in for us because it helps you anchor in the idea and others who come back in on the replay, it helps them lean in a little bit closer and take a good listen. No spring break. Oh my goodness. Is spring break. My kiddos are at home doing their chores right now. So so we can go to the movies later because they wanted to see Super Mario Brothers. So we're going to go see the new Super Mario Brothers today. But anyway, all right, my friends, let's dive into finding the gaps in your studio. Because if there's one thing that I know is that as a busy studio owner, mother, wife, daughter, right? Sister, friend, right? All the things. As a busy lady, what I can attest to is that sometimes we go through the motions. We have so much on our plates. We have so much on our to-do list that we're just kind of, we go through the motions, right? And we jump from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. And it is kind of reactionary. You might have a bigger plan, but sometimes we might be pulled astray based upon what's happening around us, right? And so what happens is we go through and we know what we know and we kind of just go through those motions, right? But too many times we don't actually take a step back to really evaluate what's going on inside of our business and if there are gaps. And yesterday I was so lucky because on one of my private coaching calls with one of my clients, we were talking about summer enrollment and we were able to identify two big gaps inside of her summer enrollment process. And when we talked through it and she was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. Da, 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 da. And I was like, well, wait. How about this? And she was like, how come I didn't realize that? Why is it so easy for you to identify what's happening? And I've been at this for a long time. And it's because I'm outside of it. I'm removed, right? I'm not knee deep in it. I am a fresh set of eyes that's coming in and really looking objectively. And so sometimes when we're in it, it's hard to see the forest for the trees. So remember that, my friends. But what I could tell you is that we have to be intentional about taking time to really evaluate what's going on in our business. And this is how we first start to identify the gaps. So if you're having a problem saying, well, I don't actually know where the gaps are in my business, one of the first questions that I ask is, what feels really hard? What feels really hard? Because here's the thing, when things feel really hard, it means a couple things. Number one, it means that either A, we don't feel like it's in our wheelhouse. And so it feels really hard. So we kind of resist it and we put it to the back burner. That might be writing copy because you're like, it feels so hard. So I'm just going to set it off over here. Right. Well, that would be a gap, right? What feels really hard inside of your business right now? Share with me. Friends, this is a safe space. So if I were to ask you what feels really hard in your business right now, let me know in the comments below. What feels really hard? Because that is the first step to identifying where we have gaps, right? What feels really hard? So that's step number one. Once we identify what feels really hard, then the next step is to really ask ourselves, what areas would I love to improve? Right? So yesterday when I was talking to my client on our private coaching call, I said, well, okay, let's talk about it. She's like, summer enrollment, I would love to improve summer enrollment. What happens always is people wait to the last minute. They might wait until the week before or wait until after recital. And I would really love to improve that. I would really love for people to commit to summer right now in the spring. So we went through, looked at her system, looked at her strategy, and we made some tweaks. So what areas would you love to improve? Is it your enrollment process? Is it your financial awareness? Is it your systems? Is it your staff onboarding? Is it your training? What is it that you would love to improve? Let me know. We're here to support you and to cheer you on. But we have to know step one and step two, what feels really hard and what areas would you love to improve? Now, this is not necessarily about saying, I'm going to overhaul my whole business this week, right? That is not realistic for most of us. For most of us, we need to have a plan, show up consistently, and work the plan. Rome was not built in a day, right? And correcting maybe where the gaps are in our business is not going to happen overnight. We need to recognize that we need to lean into it, and we need to honor the fact that we are going to be a work in progress. So, but here's the key. We have to commit, we have to decide that we are going to actually show up consistently and work the plan. Okay, Vicki, thank you. That went flying. Thank you. Revamping your competition teams. Okay, so I love this. I've actually helped a couple clients. We went through this and talked about their competition teams, and we actually helped a few clients transition from having a competition team to no longer having a competition team, and embracing having a performance company or something of that nature. But I totally understand. that whole thought. So if your competition team, do you want to share a little bit more? We could like do this together. We can work on this together. So revamping your competition team. What about it would you love to see improve? Because what's feeling really hard with your competition teams? Let us know. We're here to help you. So, what feels hard? What areas would you love to improve? Needing standards. Okay. Yes. I think that so many times that inside competition teams, actually, this is across the board, truth be told, when we don't necessarily have laid out standards, frameworks, things of that nature, what tends to happen, and I could be completely off base here, Vicki, because we haven't talked about it one-on-one together. But what I could tell you, everyone wants to be on it, and we lose a lot if we really make standards. Okay. So here's the thing. I'm going to be the first to tell you that you can have best of both worlds, right? You can have a competition team, still have standards, and still be profitable and make a lot of money from it, right? So know that you can, but yes, it's a matter of maybe revamping things and looking at what is it that feels in alignment with your values as a studio owner, as a studio. Who are you being? Who do you want to be in the community? And you have to lean into that, because when our values don't align in one area, it makes everything off, right? So if everyone wants to be on your competition team, awesome. But yes, creating standards for each level, for each team, for each section, it is a fantastic thing. It doesn't mean that you necessarily need to alienate, but it means that there are frameworks, and you have ways to measure, and we need to track and measure everything. So this actually will help you, and it will make it, well, it won't make it, it will reduce it'll mitigate your risk of having parents complain, people upset, when you're like, here it is, when you're transparent, here are our standards, here are the frameworks, this is where your child hit, this is what they need to work on, this is our plan to get them there, right? So if revamping your competition teams is what you would love to improve because it's starting to feel really hard, you can definitely do that. And of course, if you want to talk more about it, let me know. All right. So the next step in this process, so you have thought about, right? Oh, I'm going here. What feels really hard? What areas would you love to improve? And then the third piece of this pie is, what is the plan to get it done? And this is where it could feel hard. And the reason it can feel hard is because sometimes we don't know where to start, or we also start to second guess what is the right choice. So, what is the plan to get there? Now, when we are talking about planning, we have to get specific. Um, we have to get detail oriented, timeline. My friends, anytime that we decide to look at finding the gaps in your studio, we really need to have a concrete game plan in place. When we have these arbitrary, we're going to revamp our competition team, um, and we'll have it all together before auditions in July. I don't know. Depends on you and your studio, right? That's great, except for we don't have the mile markers along the way in this marathon, right? So, what is the plan to get it done? So, anytime we are talking about revamping, we want to always start with what is the desired objective and outcome. Start with that. Then get out your calendar, and I want you to work yourself backwards to square one. So, we're going to revamp, and we are going to roll out the new competition team system at auditions. And that happens July 15th. I don't know. Then, okay, so we're going to roll that out there. So by June 15th, we need to have our standards in place. We need to have our scoring system. We need to have, right? So by June 15th, then let's take it back another step. May 15th, we want to roll out our invitations to the specific dancers that we want to audition for competition team. We're going to roll it back even more. May 1st, I'm having a staff meeting with all of my staff to go through new standards, how we're going to make these invites, right? We are working backwards and we are all coming together in one unified goal of revamping, overhauling our competition teams. Okay. We have to work backwards. We have to have timelines. We have to have deadlines. And then once you have those big nuggets, then we break them down to even smaller bits that are bite-sized nuggets that are chewable, that we can handle, that don't seem like an overwhelming task. Because when we look at this idea of, oh my gosh, I need to revamp my competition team, and you think about all the things, it could start to be overwhelming. But when we break it down and we're like, this week, all I need to do is this one thing, it feels totally manageable, right? And all those little one things will add up to you having hit your goal, your outcome, your objective, okay? So one of the things that I will say for most people is we can see where there's places that we want to improve, right? We could see them. But knowing which one to pick could be challenging. Have you guys ever felt like that? If you feel like there's multiple things, like when we were kind of going through some transition over here, I really thought about, okay, I want to up level my onboarding process with my staff. I'm recognizing that there's a great training process, but there's a gap between them being hired and them starting the actual training process. There's a gap in there, and I'm getting certain questions happening in that space. So I need to fix that, right? What am I not communicating well to these teachers? Because I'm getting lots of questions between the actual hiring, signing the paperwork, them doing their background and fingerprint clearance, to when they actually are able to start training as a new teacher for us, right? There was a little bit of a gap in between there. And some of it because of us, waiting on the Department of Justice, FBI, for fingerprint clearances and things of that nature. But I understood that. But a lot of times new staff don't understand that there's a gap and there's a wait and where it's out of our hands. And there are certain things that we have now shifted that we can do to kind of fill that gap, so they don't feel like they're at a standstill and they're just, twiddling, you can't see it, twiddling their thumbs, waiting for this fingerprint clearance to come back. We are actively still taking steps in the onboarding process to feel like they are making strides and moving forward. Right. But so at that time, we thought, okay, there's a gap here in our onboarding process. So we needed to look at that. We also recognized that in our business, that there was the training gap when it came to our choreography, how people learned. And so we had to shift our training process a little bit and add in new elements. Before, it used to just be all hands on. It was, you come to class, we start, with lead teacher teaching, new hire observing, and then we went through a step-by-step process of, okay, then they became co-teaching, one person, right? And we had a stair-stepped approach, which had always worked. But for some people, it wasn't enough. We definitely recognize that some people learn in different ways, right? So we had to come up with a full embodied training program where there was some things that were happening via recorded sessions, some things that were in a written out manual, something. So we wanted to make sure that we were hitting on different learning styles because we noticed that there was a gap. Taking on that sort of project felt daunting and overwhelming, right? But we knew, or I could see the gap and how it directly correlated to the longevity of our staff staying in place and having the quality instructors that we wanted for our programs. So I saw the gap, and then we broke down a timeline to fix it. And it did feel daunting when I first thought about it. Oh my gosh, we need to record all this choreography. We need to, create this different training manual. Need to, da, 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 da. And when I got with my team and we worked backwards, we're like, oh, okay, this is totally doable. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to record this. We're going to have it transcribed. We're going to write. And then we had deadlines attached to it all, and it didn't feel so overwhelming. But the first thing is, what was feeling hard? And that onboarding training process was actually feeling kind of hard for everyone. So how do we find the gaps? We start with number 1, what feels hard? Number 2, what areas would you love to improve? And the third thing is, what's the plan to get it done? Now, I will tell you, my friends, that if you're feeling stuck in where do I start? I don't know how to fix this, right? I need some support. I have opened up my calendar, y'all, to do some, offer a few free or complimentary studio success strategy sessions where you can come on, you fill out a little survey, and I can help you identify the gaps, talk about what it is that you want to fix inside of your business, and then we can go through and create a plan to get you there. All right. So if you are looking for more support, if you know, I just need a fresh set of eyes who is not in the four walls here and in it, I would love to support you and help you with that. So, my friends, grab yourself one of those studio success strategy sessions because they are going to help you identify and come up a plan to fix your gaps, right? And sometimes it is really just having that fresh set of eyes to look at things and be objective and not in it. So you could do that by going to erinbird.com/apply. It is going to take you to a little questionnaire. You do have to fill out the questionnaire. You have to fill it out so we can make the most of our time together and for me to be able to support you fully during that complimentary session. So my friends, you can grab that. Now, I have to tell you before we leave, like I said, I love to learn out loud here. And I want to know because I believe in one, celebrating the wins, right? Supporting people to the fullest. And I mean, that's my whole mission here is to support studio owners and educators to really live their dream life. So, my friends, how can we support you right now? What is it? I would love for you to drop into the chat so we can support you along the way. We can cheer you on when you fill those gaps. So, what is it that you would love to improve in your business? It could be anything. It could be, I don't want to teach as much, or I need to add 100 students. I would love to see me add 100 students to my bottom line, to my student count. I would love to increase my profit margin to 33%. I don't know, right? What would you love? And then I'm here to support you and cheer you along the way and say, hey, how's it going? Right? That is our goals. That is our goal here, is to make sure that we're just, even if they feel like the tiniest baby steps, that we're continuing to make those and to take those baby steps forward. Because when you have a little, they crawl. Well, they sit up first and then they crawl. And then they take those first wobbly steps and then they're running it off the gate. And that's the same thing that we want for you. Even if we're taking those baby steps and they feel wobbly and unsure, we're still moving forward because all of those add up. And then you're going to be leaps and bounds ahead and look back and be like, wow, look how far I've come. It's kind of bananas, right? So, all right, my friends, What gaps are you needing support with in your studio? How are you identifying them? What would you love to improve? And share with me, what's your plan to get it done? Because that's the name of the game. I'm going to leave you for today. I will be back next week for another episode of the Aaron Bird Live Show where we share business strategy, mindset, tips and tricks, and really, hopefully, just some joy. And you feel a little bit of joy every time you join us on Wednesdays. I'm going to leave you there. I'm Aaron Bird, and I hope that y'all have a fantastic week and a fantastic holiday this weekend. Bye, guys.